Okay, Assalamu alaikum and good morning to you all. Um, Now, today we are going to start on a new topic. It's sentence structure and sentence types. Um, so, in today's session, we'll be looking at the types of sentences which are used in different types of writings. First of all, there are four. Yesterday, before we concluded the class, we looked at the basic different four types of sentences, which are simple, compound, compound, complex, and simple, compound, complex, and compound complex sentences. And so I hope you will understand the different types of sentences. It's quite confusing, so please pay attention, and if you have any question you can ask in the Viber group. All right. Now first of all, let's look at let's see why we need different types of sentences. Why are different types of sentences used? Because if we suppose, for example, if we write a paragraph with only simple sentences, then it will look like, maybe, for example, you are writing a letter, and if you are writing it in only in simple letters, simple sentences, then the reader will find it very difficult to understand, because if you are using all simple sentences in one paragraph or in one writing, then you will have to use more shorter sentences, which will make the writing more wordy and more lengthy. So the lengthy and the longer the text gets, it will be difficult, and also sometimes people will find it maybe boring to read the text. Maybe we might have come across situations where you receive an email, maybe at office, and it is very very long, and then you might find it difficult to read. We all are running after time, right? So we all need to understand. We don't want to spend a lot of time reading a whole paragraph. So it is important that we try to incorporate the different types of sentences in our writing, so that it looks um, easy. It will be easy to read, and it will be concise and complete. Um, Remember the four C's that we talked about. It will be concise and complete. So now let's see. Simple, compound, complex, and compound complex. Now, as I said previously, make sure you completely understand, especially compound, complex, and then compound complex. The last three types of sentences are very confusing when it comes to identifying the different types. Okay. Now, by the end of this today's session, I'll send an activity on compound, complex, and simple sentences. I'll give you around 10 or 20 sentences, I think. I'll send you the PDF. I want you to identify the sentences whether they are compound, complex, simple, or compound complex. Alright, so be ready to take notes if you want to. First, we'll look at the basic parts of a sentence. Now, I'm sure you'll all be familiar with the sentence structure. We talked a little bit about yesterday in passive and active voice. Subject, the word order. Subject, normally we use subject, verb, object. Right, so here is a short, simple example. Mary, it's the subject. As we talked about yesterday, subject is always the person or the thing which is doing the action in that sentence. And then predicate. Predicate here means the verb, the action verb or action verb phrase. All right. Next, this is a very important part which you need to understand. What is a clause? We'll be talking about clauses a lot in the upcoming slides. So make sure you understand this part. What is a clause? A clause is a part of a sentence which is with a verb. So even if it is two words, if it is a phrase of two words, if has a verb, then that is a clause. However, it doesn't have to start with a capital letter and end with a full stop. It can be a short phrase also. For example, we're going to the shops. In this sentence, it does not have any capital letters. That means this could be the middle of a sentence, and there's no full stop. That indicates that this sentence does not stop here. There's some more at the end. But where's the verb in this sentence? We're going to the shops. Going. So we have a verb in this phrase. Therefore, this is a clause. Basically, a clause will explain or give you a full meaning. A clause gives you a full thought of what is going to be said in that sentence. If a part or the full sentence or like I said before, or a part of the sentence, when you read it and if you do not get a full meaning or if you do not understand the full meaning of what is going to be said in that sentence, then it is not a clause. All right. So what did we understand here? A clause can stand alone if it gives you a full meaning, and it does not have to start with a capital letter and end with a full stop. There are two kinds of clauses, dependent and independent. Independent clause here will be referring to it as sometimes as main clause, and in independent clause, or we will call it main clause, and dependent clause which we will call subordinate clause. Okay. So let's see what an independent clause is. As the word says, an independent clause will stay on its own, which means an independent clause will stay on its own and have its own meaning. An independent clause will give full meaning. You will have a full thought of what the sentence is going to say, what message the sentence is going to convey. An independent clause expresses a complete thought and can stand on its own as a sentence. Now, when we say independent clause, it doesn't have to be one whole sentence, okay? It can be a part of one sentence. For example, here you can see learning a new language is often frustrating. Now, we are going to use this sentence, this idea for all of the other explanations so that it will be easier to follow. All right? So, an independent clause expresses a complete thought and can stand on its own. Here, can stand on its own means it will convey its own meaning without depending on another part of the sentence or another word of the sentence. Alright? Dependent. Dependent clause does not express a complete thought and needs to be joined to an independent clause to become a sentence. It usually begins with a word such as although, while, because, who, which, if, etc. For example, although learning a new language is often frustrating, up to there, that is a dependent clause. A dependent clause will depend on another part of the sentence to convey its full meaning. Alright? Uh, I hope you have understood this part, dependent and independent clause. So if you have understood dependent and independent clause thoroughly, then it will be very easy to identify compound complex and compound complex sentences. Okay. Here, here's an example. Aisha is learning a new language, although it is frustrating. In this sentence, although it is frustrating, this part is the dependent clause. Because when we say although it is frustrating, when we read only that part, we do not get a full meaning of it. We do not understand what although what the word it is referring to, right? So we know that this part of the sentence is relying on the first part of the sentence to convey its full meaning. Therefore, Aisha is learning a new language, although it is frustrating. Okay, moving on. First is simple sentence. Simple sentence is simple. A simple sentence has one subject and one predicate. Here, as you can see, we went to San Juan yesterday. In this sentence, went is the action, San Juan, you know where they went, we is the subject, and San Juan is the object because went is the action verb, which means predicate. Yeah. So this is a simple sentence. A simple sentence has just one clause. Alright. There are no additional clauses. Simple sentence is just one clause. There. A simple subject, we, which is a pronoun, went, which is the verb, the action verb, to San Juan, the prepositional phrase. Now we are calling this a prepositional phrase because to San Juan. To the word itself is the preposition, and the word it comes to word it defines is together it is the prepositional phrase. So here to send one is the prepositional phrase. In it is a complete predicate. Okay. Simple subject we and when to send one a complete predicate. So this is how a simple sentence is constructed. Now keep in mind that simple sentence does not mean that it is just 5 or 6 words short. It can be a 10 word or to 15 word long sentence. But as long as it has a simple subject and one complete predicate, the sentence will be simple. Okay, here the point is a simple sentence does not mean that it has to be short. It can be really long also. Okay, keep that in mind. Here's another example. Tom and Mary play tennis. Now here, Tom and Mary has become a compound subject. Compound subject means if a sentence has more than one subject. Here there's it says Tom and Mary. Tom is one subject, Mary is one subject, and they are both performing the action mentioned in the sentence, play tennis. Therefore, this Tom and Mary becomes a compound subject. Next is compound sentence. A compound sentence has two independent clauses. Now, an independent clause can stay on its own and make a full meaning. And it has a full meaning, right? A compound sentence has two independent clauses, and these independent clauses are connected by conjunctions, adverbs, or a semicolon. Okay, let's see an example. We went to Saint Juan and most of us danced all night. What do you think is the uh, clauses here? As we saw before, compound sentence has two independent clauses. Therefore, what are the two independent clauses in this sentence? Here you can see we went to Saint Juan. Up to there, that is one independent clause. When we say we went to Saint Juan, we understand, we get a full meaning. We went to Saint Juan. When we stop up to there, we understand what it is saying, we get a full meaning. There it is subject, verb, and the prepositional phrase. And then below you can see most of us danced all night. This is the second independent clause. Most of us danced all night. This is the second independent clause, and these two clauses are joined by a coordinating conjunction and. Alright? We went to San Juan and most of us danced all night. Now here as you can see, the second independent clause also has a subject, most of us, and a verb, danced all night, modifying phrase. Yes, in an compound sentence, most of the time it will be talking about two different, not different, but two actions will be mentioned. Now, to identify a compound sentence, what you have to look for is not you should not focus on the actions that is happening in the sentence, but focus more on the on identifying the clause. Now, for a compound sentence, you should be looking for two independent clauses. First of all, when you see the sentence, just first read it and then try to identify the clauses. All right. If you see two independent clauses like we see right now on the screen, then and then if it is joined by a coordinating conjunction like the word and, I'll send you list of coordinating conjunctions and other different types of conjunctions. Um All right. So keep that in mind when you are identifying the different types of scent. Always look for the type of clause. Okay. Not do not focus on the action or what is happening or what is written um, on the sentence. Not for this. You do not look for the subject, verb, or the prepositional phrase. Here we have on screen we have I have identified these parts just to explain a little bit more. Okay, but you should be looking for the different clause. Okay, next here now you can see some compound sentences. I mean compound uh, coordinating conjunctions. For, and, no, but, or, yet, so. Now, this also does not mean that every time the sentence might be using one of these words. Okay? As we saw before, let's see. Independent clauses are connected by conjunctions, adverbs, or a semicolon. There might be no conjunction, no adverb, just the two clauses connected with a semicolon also. Alright? Here's another example. Tom swims and Mary plays tennis. Comma before and is in compound sentences. Now, I think most of the time we say to use comma after a conjunction or a linking word. But if it is a compound sentence, then excuse me. But if it is a compound sentence, always use comma before and. Okay. Conjunctive adverbs, moreover, however, otherwise, and therefore. The list does not end here. There are a lot of conjunctive adverbs. Okay, so just do not think that these are the only words. There are lots of other adverbs. Here's an example. Bob is handsome. Moreover, he is rich. There, as you can see, he is rich. Only three words, but that is one independent clause. Okay. Bob is handsome. First clause, which is connected with a conjunctive adverb. Moreover, he is rich. Semicolon before conjunctive adverb and comma after conjunctive adverb. you should use a semicolon before a conjunctive adverb and then put a comma after the adverb. Next is complex. A complex sentence contains of two parts, okay? That one that can stand alone and another one that cannot. That means one can stand alone. That means what kind of clause? Here it means one independent clause and one dependent clause. One that can stand alone, that means one independent clause, and then one that another that cannot stand alone, that means one dependent clause. The part that cannot stand alone is linked to the rest of the sentence by a subordinating conjunction. Alright? Let's see an example. Since my boyfriend and I wanted to have fun, we went to San Juan yesterday. Since my boyfriend and I wanted to have fun, we went to San Juan yesterday. Which part do you think is the dependent clause? First or second part? Since we wanted to have fun, we went to San Juan yesterday. So here, the first part is the part that cannot stand alone, which means since we wanted to have fun, this is the dependent clause. Okay? And then the last part, we went to San Juan yesterday, is the independent clause. When we say we went to San Juan yesterday, when we say that part only, we understand, we get a full meaning. But when we say, just say up to since we wanted to have fun. When we say up to there, we know that there's something at the end. We know that that is not a complete sentence. It does not give a full meaning. And also the first part, it starts with a subordinating conjunction. Here, now in the first sentence, we saw the subordinated conjunction is used at the beginning of the sentence. Here we'll see the connective phrase used in the middle of the sentence. Is an example. Bob is popular even though he is ugly. In this example, Bob is popular even though he is ugly. The independent clause here is first part. Bob is popular. And then the independent clause is subordinating conjunction. Here are some words. The most common subordinating conjunctions are after, although, as, because, before, how, if, once, since, then, that, though, till, until, when, where, whether, and while. These are the most commonly used subordinating conjunctions. Here's another example. The example we saw before, which is explained here. Bob is popular even though he is ugly. Now here, since comma is not used, right? So when we say he is ugly alone, we understand that it can be a dependent clause, but here because comma is not used and we will be here we will have to take Bob is popular as the first clause, and then the second clause will be with will it will be taken with the subordinating conjunction. Will say even though he is ugly. That part, it is the dependent clause. Now when we say Bob is popular, we get a full meaning. It is the independent clause. But when we say even though he is ugly, we will have to take that part together with the subordinating conjunction. It is the dependent clause. Now here the words have been changed. Even though Bob is ugly, he is popular. Here now the first part of the sentence has become the dependent clause, and then the last part is the independent clause. Okay, next is compound complex sentence. This type of sentence has more than one part that can stand alone and at least one that cannot. Conjunctions link the different parts of the sentence. So, a compound complex sentence has more than one part that can stand alone. That means two independent clause and one that cannot, and at least one part that cannot stand alone. That means one dependent clause. Okay. Here also conjunctions link the different parts of sentences. Here's an example. Since we wanted to have fun, my boyfriend and I went to San Juan yesterday and we danced all night. Now, as you can see, since we wanted to have fun, up to there, this is the dependent clause, which starts with a subordinating conjunction. The middle part, my boyfriend and I went to San Juan yesterday. Went to San Juan. The second part, my boyfriend and I went to San Juan. This is the independent clause, and the last part, and we danced all night. This is also this is the second independent clause. So therefore, in a compound complex sentence, there are three types of clauses. I mean, there are three clauses, two independent and one dependent. Here in this example, the dependent clause is the first part. Since we wanted to have fun, this is the independent clause. Second part, my boyfriend and I went to San Juan. This is one independent clause, and the other independent clause is we danced all night. Okay? Here's another example. Mike is popular because he is good looking, but he is not very happy. Here in this sentence, there are two coordinating conjunctions used, because and but, to link the three parts of this sentence. Alright, so now we have covered the four different types of sentences. I hope you have understood. If you have understood the types of clauses, then you should be able to identify the different types of sentences. Okay. If you have any questions regarding today's part, please you can ask right now. Now I'm waiting for to see if you have any questions regarding today's topic. I know this is quite confusing for a lot of students there. So now I'm trying to send one activity to you. Yes, I'll be uploading these slides soon. Now, in compound complex sentence, conjunctions here, as you can see, conjunctions link different parts of this sentence. Now, in a compound complex sentence, there are three parts, right? Here, as you can see, there are three parts. So, these three parts needs to be joined together. So, a conjunction will be used. Okay, but as previously we saw on here, here it says subordinating conjunction in complex sentence, and but not like that. Okay, not specifically subordinative conjunction or conjunctive adverb, not like that. But in a if it is a compound complex, any kind of conjunction will be linking the different parts of the sentence together. Okay. All right, if you do not have any other questions, then I'll be we'll call it a day. Are you sure you don't have any other questions here? Okay, so today, right now I'm trying to send the worksheet. You'll get around, there'll be, first I'll send you the simple one, sentence structure. You'll have 20 questions, and yeah, I'll send you 20 questions, not questions, but sentences, and you have to identify each of the following sentence as simple, compound, complex, or compound complex. Okay, this is a PDF. You can edit in PDF and just write compound, complex next to each sentence, and then just send the answers. And then we'll see how many of you get 20 out of 20, right? Okay, so no more questions for today's class. Then tomorrow probably we will continue with paragraph writing and how to arrange paragraphs, how to arrange the information in a paragraph, how to distribute paragraphs in a report or a letter. Okay, and also I'll share with you the details of the assessment. Of course, you will have an assessment for this. Okay, I'll make sure the assessment is hard enough. Okay. Oh yes, tomorrow is Friday. So next class is on Sunday, I think. Since you have no more questions, I believe that you have understood today's lesson. So all of you should be getting 20 out of 20 from the worksheet I sent today. All right. So see you next class. Have a good day and good weekend.